So my name is Bob Rocks, and 20 years ago, I was an aspiring rapper in this Michigan underground scene with a group called Dysfunctional Family, spelled DISFUNKTION, and then PHAMILY. We did a lot of our shows in Cleveland, Detroit, Grand Rapids, Toledo, things like that. And it was probably 2003, and we were scheduled. Well, we did a buy-on with a promoter down in Cleveland at Peabody's, who was having Isham as a headliner, Blaze as the co-headliner, and then they had a lot of openers. At the time, we were really trying to put on this group, Troubled Minds, and really like push them. So we took them to a lot of our out-of-town shows. We would do our songs that we had with them and let them do a couple of their songs to kind of break up the show and give us a breather. So we all pile in my van and head down to Cleveland, Troubled Minds and Dysfunctional Family. And we get down there, and the promoter says, I don't have you on the list. I don't have you written down. I don't have a spot for you. Now, we tell him, look, we've paid the other promoter, your partner, for this spot. And they kind of give us a, oh, well. So one of the guys from Troubled Minds glances over, because we're just standing in this common area at Peabody's, and he's like, oh, there's Rude Boy, and Rude Boy's sitting over there eating pizza, and he's like, yeah, I wrestled with his son, or something like that. He knew Rude Boy's son, I'm not sure which one, but he goes over there, and he says, Rudy, I don't know if you remember me. Rudy says, yeah, I remember you. And he says, we got this problem. And I'm standing next to him, so I start to explain. Yeah, the promoter, Chris, we paid him $250 for this opportunity to play the show. We sold our tickets. We did all that shit. And now they're telling us, oh, well. And Rudy's listening, and he sees the promoter walking by this common area. And he's like, Chris, come over here. And Chris comes over there, and he says, and let me just go back and say the reason Rudy was there is he was Isham's manager. He was the tour manager. He was in charge of the tour, but he was not in charge of the venue. And he told me that. He was like, I'm not really in charge of the openers or anything like that. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm sorry to throw this on your plate, but it just seems so unfair. He calls Chris over, and he's like, did these guys pay you for this show? And he's like, yeah, but, there was a mix-up, and now there's no spots available because we overbooked, and we just don't have a spot for them. And he's like listening. Rudy's listening to Chris, and he just looks back up, and he goes, did these guys pay you for the show? Like the guy didn't say anything. And he's like, yeah, but... And he cuts him off halfway through this bullshit again and says, did these guys pay you for the show? And Chris was like, yeah. And he's like, then put them on the stage. Make it happen. Boom. There was 3 floors there. The main floor, there was a second floor, and there was a third floor. We got to play the second floor stage. The room was packed. It was a great experience, and none of it would have happened if it weren't for the Rude Boy. So that was my first experience meeting him. This guy who had a lot on his plate, was way above my clout level, and he still cared if we were getting ripped off. Let's fast forward to 2019, after launching ROX-TV and putting a lot of work in to get my name out there and being on the tour, the Shaggy tour, and part of being on the tour was not just me being there to film and get interviews and support Trey Pounds and stuff. Part of my job was to just help out with the tour, be a runner, and because I had a vehicle, and so I'm with the bus all the time. So they kind of relied on me. DJ Carlito came to me and said, "Hey, would you mind picking up my dad from the airport?" And I said, "No, you want to come?" So Carlito came, and we drove to the airport in whatever city it was. And Rude Boy goes, "ROX-TV, man, I love what you guys do." And he's just telling me, he really digs what we do and respects it and stuff. And this is my second time meeting him, so I'm just like, wow, this is an honor. And he agrees to an interview. And he says it's going to be at his hotel room. And I don't know if it was later that day. I think it might have been the next day. And there was a mix-up with our Airbnb. We didn't realize that we were going to be in this town one day longer than we really thought we were. So that morning that we're supposed to do the interview, I'm getting a text message on my phone that I'm supposed to be checking out of my Airbnb or my hotel or whatever it was. I can't even remember. But I'm like, we got this interview opportunity with the fucking Rude Boy. So, and the desk, the front desk, it was a hotel. The front desk, nobody was there. So I'm like, fuck, man, what do we do? What do we do? So I left Casper there. He was part of ROX-TV. He was one of our drivers, and he handles a lot of stuff. I'm like, you stay with the hotel. This way, if they throw you out, at least you have all our stuff, and you can watch it till we get back. So I go to the hotel that Rudy's staying at, badass hotel, things like a circle, and he's on the top floor, nice ass suite, really nice. And we give him the interview, and we're asking him questions, and we're doing all that. And then when it's done, he asked us if we want to hang out. And I'm like, man, I'd love to hang out, have a few beers, do whatever. But truth of the matter is I fucked up, and I need to get back to my hotel to make sure I have a place for me and my crew to stay tonight. And he looks at me and he says, "Bobby, if you guys don't have a place to stay tonight, you're more than welcome to sleep on the floor of my hotel room." And that shit blew my mind. Because if I had this dope-ass hotel room and I was out of town, I don't think I'd want to share it with anybody, especially, you never know who you might want to bring back to your hotel, and you're going to have a bunch of dudes sleeping on your floor. To make a long story short, I was able to fix our accommodations with the hotel we were staying at. But all I kept thinking about all morning is this dude who barely knows me, doesn't even remember the first time we met in 2003. And he's kind enough to offer us a place to sleep. That is the kind of person I want to be. He is a good dude who thinks about others first and himself second. And this is the second time that he has extended that kind of love and courtesy for me as a human without even knowing me. With me being at an acquaintance level, if that. I'm just blown away by what kind of good person he is. And now, since 2020, since we started doing IBW TV on ROX-TV and started making IBW products like The Fix, which is our wrestling show. We also have Shooting It Straight, which is his interview show. Big Time Memories. And it just doesn't stop. Rudy is a staple of ROX-TV. He's what I would call our head anchor person. He's the one that's going to do all the big interviews, do all the big events. And let me just tell you, this man was born to hold a mic. He knows how to interview anyone. And he is my hero. Definitely my hero. And to get to work with him and watch him just kill it on project after project. He knows how to sound professional, be professional, and kick ass. And I'm just blessed to work with him. I'm blessed to work with DJ Carlito and even the writer of this book, Mike Shepard. These are some of the best people I know, and I call them family. I call them ROX-TV, and I just am thankful